For over a decade, people have been making ROM hacks of Super Mario 64, one of the best games ever made. That's not my opinion, by the way, that's an undeniable fact. The game is just so fun and memorable, and the movement is so versatile and fluid, so it makes sense why over 1,000 different ROM hacks were made just for this game. And today, I want to talk about the first ROM hack ever made for it, and I have to say, for being the very first SM64 hack, the Missing Stars is a surprisingly good— Wait, what the hell is that sound?
Actually, the first Super Mario 64 ROM hack was actually Super Dick 64 by Penisman42, at least in 18012. You should really do your research next time.
Yeah, shut the fuck up. Yes, I know the Missing Stars isn't technically the first SM64 ROM hack, there were other smaller hacks made before this one. It's just easier to say that it is because it's the first major ROM hack. Plus, it makes for a great title so I can get those sweet views.
I can almost taste it.
As I was saying, despite being the first major ROM hack with custom levels, The Missing Stars is a surprisingly good game. Going into it, I was kinda expecting the hack to be shit, but I was pleasantly surprised at not only how much fun I was having, but also how ahead of its time this game is. At first glance, you would expect it to be a simple, bare-bones hack that's incredibly outdated, but there's a lot more to this game once you start playing it. One of the first things you'll notice is the day and night cycle. Every once in a while, the game switches between day and night, and what's cool is that it isn't just an aesthetic change, the level also changes as well. There are certain stars you can only get during the day, and some you can only get during the night, which adds some variety to the levels. And speaking of the levels, there isn't a hub world that links all of them together like in the original game. Instead, the levels are all connected to each other, allowing you to explore whatever area you want and collect stars in any order you want. Now I know this doesn't sound that impressive by today's standards, I mean plenty of ROM hacks have done this kind of thing before, but remember, this is the first major SM64 hack, so it's pretty interesting to see the game designed like this, instead of having a hub world like you would expect it to have. The only problem I have with this design choice is that it wasn't executed that well. You see, every time you collect a star or die, the game vomits you in front of Mario's house, which means that you have to walk all the way back to the area you were just in, which is really dumb. What's even weirder is that there are two areas that don't do this at all, instead they spit you in front of the level you were just in, so why don't the other areas do this? I don't know. But despite that, there are so many other cool features in this game that make it a lot more enjoyable. The best one in my opinion is that you can play as Luigi. Even though he plays exactly the same as Mario, it's still pretty cool to even get the option to play as him. One of the most useful features is the star counter in the bottom left corner of the screen. This tells you how many stars are in the level and how many you currently have, which is really helpful for keeping track of how much of the level you still need to complete. And the enemies in this game are a real pain in the ass, but in a good way. I don't know how that's good at all. Why did I say that? What I mean is that enemies aren't little pushover bitches like in the original game, they will fuck your shit up. Goombas will chase you down at the speed of light and bombs explode on contact and they both do insane amounts of damage. The Womp fight is also pretty tough since he shoots fireballs out of his dick, which can either cuck you out of a hit or stun you into getting crushed. However, the coolest fight by far is the final fight with Bowser. What's great about it is that you don't kill Bowser by throwing him into bombs like you usually do. Instead, you get a fire flower, which means you get to shoot fireballs out of your dick. Oh, time to take a piss, bitch! But now, I think it's time to address the elephant in the room. This game looks like ass! All of the levels are made with very simple platforms placed around in these box-like rooms. There is no real style or theming to any of the levels and they all look very plain and ugly. It is by far the most dated aspect about this hack, and it doesn't help that there are some invisible walls and janky collision that can really fuck you over when you least expect it. And some of the NPCs in this game look like they're writhing in pain and agony, like they want someone to end their suffering.
You have terminal 7, brain cancer.
Oh well, there's nothing I can do about it. Anyways, there isn't that much else to say about the Missing Stars since it's a pretty short game with only 38 stars, which kinda pisses me off. I mean, you couldn't add 2 more stars to make it 40? Oh well, I still think it's a pretty neat game with a lot of cool ideas, but it also has a lot of outdated aspects to it. But despite its shortcomings, it's still impressive that this is the very first SM64 ROM hack.
Actually—
Oh, fuck off. I'm not correcting myself. It's crazy to think that Super Mario 64 ROM hacks have evolved into these technical achievements that push the limits of what you would expect ROM hacks to be capable of. Nowadays, you have hacks that add brand new objects, enemies, and bosses to the game. Hacks that fundamentally change the gameplay into something completely different. And you even get people like Kazuya Manuar, who's pretty much rewriting the entire code of SM64 just to make his new ROM hack run one frame faster on N64. Jesus. And it's even crazier to think that the first Mario 64 hack also did this kind of thing way back in 2009. I mean, think about it, this isn't just a simple hack that adds a couple of new levels to run around in. There are custom HUDs, enemies, bosses, power-ups, and even
Mama Luigi?
This stuff may be trivial nowadays, but this was incredibly impressive for the time, and it makes me appreciate this game a whole lot more. Yeah, this game does look ugly and it is a little frustrating at times, but it's still worth checking out and it's still fun to play today.